Dave once again. I'm Dave. Want to thank everybody for taking the time to purchase my DVD. Everybody's ordered it. I really appreciate it. Remember, you can get it on daveandcook.com. $9.95. It's cheap. Y'all go to daveandcook.com and check it out. Today, I am cooking gumbo. A lot of people ask me to cook some gumbo. I said, okay, I'll cook some gumbo. I am cooking my style gumbo, which is down in Charleston. We cook a Creole gumbo. We don't cook a Cajun gumbo. A couple little differences. We use tomatoes in our Creole gumbo. Cajun gumbo, we don't use tomatoes. But remember, when you're cooking this gumbo, don't stop stirring. It's kind of thick. You stop stirring that, you're going to get a little scorch on the bottom. You don't want that. You don't want any scorch on the bottom of this thing. So don't forget, keep stirring this thing until it's pretty much almost done. I let it sit a little bit, but pretty much I always keep checking it. I keep stirring it, because I don't want the scorch on the bottom. And when you're done, man, this thing's going to be good. We'll put it on some rice. If you want, you can put this on some Spanish rice, make it even better. I'm just going to put it on some white rice, and it's going to be wonderful. Okay, I'll take you over to the stove, show you how we do this. Alright, here we are at our trusty stainless steel pot. First thing we're going to do is to start our gumbo by fixing us a roux. Alright, we're going to do that by adding a half cup of oil. Use oil for this, don't use butter. You know how I like butter, but don't use butter because it could burn on you. We're going to cook this roux a little bit. We don't want it to burn on us any. But a half cup of oil, half cup of flour. Put it down in the bottom of the pan. I'm going to put my stove on about medium. And I'm just going to stir this up and get this roux to going. Get all the oil mixed with the flour. As it gets hot, it'll start cooking a little bit. Now we're not going to cook this till it turns brown. If you were cooking yourself a Cajun gumbo, you'd cook this roux until it turned dark. Real dark, the darker the better for Cajun gumbo. But we're cooking a Creole gumbo like we do down in Charleston in the low country. We cook Creole gumbo and we want to use a tan roux. So we're probably going to cook it about 10 minutes or so on medium. You got to keep stirring it. Keep stirring it as you heat it up. The more you stir it, better it's going to be. Work that roux and get it going. We don't want it to burn any, so we want to make sure we keep stirring it to make our Creole gumbo. Okay, I've been cooking the roux for about 10 minutes, maybe a little more than 10 minutes. And see it's starting to change color, starting to get a little, you know, peanut butter color, nut color, tan color. That's the color I want right there. That's what we got going on. Now we're going to take our vegetables. They call it the trifecta vegetables. We have some celery. See how fine I chopped it? Try to chop your celery as fine as you can. And underneath that, I have a whole green pepper. I cut up one whole green pepper as fine as I could again. Cut it up as fine as you can. And we're going to put an onion in there. Put a whole chopped up onion. And like I said, same thing about the onion. Cut it up as fine as you can. For the same as the green pepper and the celery. I'm going to stir all that in there. Now, I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit and just simmer this in the roux until the vegetables are soft. Take about 5 minutes probably. This is the point right now where you would go ahead and hit it with some salt and some pepper. But I'm not going to use salt and pepper. If you don't have any Creole seasoning, y'all say Creole seasoning? It's pretty much just salt and pepper and some other things added in there, some garlic, some onions. I like it. Good stuff. I use it a lot of times. If I don't want to use salt and pepper, I use a little of this instead. Give you a little spice. Pretty much just use enough to make it salty. Just a little bit. And we're going to add some more later on. We're just going to keep stirring that a little bit. After you cook the vegetables for about 5 minutes or so, not a whole lot, we're going to cook them more, so it's okay. We just want them to start spitting out those flavors. You know how they do once they start getting hot. They start oozing out all those flavors. We're going to go ahead and add some okra. You know how I like the okra. I'm going to add just about a cup of okra. You can add more if you want. Okra is just a thickening agent for this. We're going to let it thicken up our gumbo for us. Gumbo actually means okra. It means okra in Spanish. Okra is African, and the Spanish adopted the word gumbo from the African word for okra. I don't know what it is. But it's actually an African dish, but gumbo means okra in Spanish. All right, we're gonna stir all that up in there. It looks wonderful. Get some okra in there. We're gonna cook that for a little while. I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken broth to this. All right, I'm gonna add me about a cup of chicken broth, and I'm just gonna let that cook. A cup of chicken broth. I'm just gonna let everybody cook and get together and become as one there with my gumbo and my celery and onions. Everybody looking good. Thickening up nicely. I'm gonna add probably 3 more cups of chicken broth. At the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my sausage in. Here's just some smoked sausage. It's andouille smoked sausage. It's a little hot. Gets a smoked flavor. Get a little spicy. It's New Orleans smoked sausage. You don't have to use New Orleans smoked sausage. You can use what kind of smoked sausage you want. It's important to use smoked sausages though. That way you get a smoked flavor up in your gumbo. All right, I'm gonna add another 3 cups of chicken broth. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my heat back to medium. Remember, I turned it down earlier. Give that a good stir. We want it to be kind of thick, kind of soupy, and as we cook it, of course, it will get thicker as we go. All right, so now we're almost ready to let it simmer for a little while. We have to put one more thing in here. We're looking for like a pretty good gumbo. Now, if you're going to use fresh tomatoes, you can go ahead and add them now. Let those tomatoes cook. I'm going to use canned tomatoes in my gumbo. Hit a little bit of thyme also. We don't need a lot of thyme, a little tiny bit. Give us a little bit of flavor. We don't need a lot of thyme, just a little bit, just a little pinch. About like that, boom. And there's a thyme. I'm going to take about a handful of shrimp and I cut them on little pieces. Y'all see that? And I'm going to put them in there and they're going to become part of that sauce. We're going to put the rest of the shrimp in there about 10 minutes before it's done cooking. And that'll give us plenty of time to cook it. Because you know, shrimp, you cook it too much, you know, it doesn't really do you right. But in the sauce there, it's going to give us a nice fish flavor. Probably wouldn't have had to do that if I had some fish stock instead of chicken stock. I could have used fish stock. It would have been good to go. But I'm going to put a lid on this. Like I said, I got it on medium. And I'm just going to simmer it slowly. I don't want to simmer it too fast. Just long enough for it to cook, for those flavors to start coming together, starting to be somebody. Alright, come back, check the gumbo. See how we're doing. Cooking up nicely. I've only been cooking about 5-10 minutes. I just taking a sneak peek. Make sure everything's groovy. Where it's supposed to be. Looks fine to me. Rocking on. But I think we do need to hit it with some hot sauce or something. What we'll do is we'll hit a little bit of Texas Pete. Just a little bit, give a little bit of flavor. And then we'll serve it with some Texas Pete too. People are going to add some more if they want some more hot up in their gumbo. Alright, we're simmering nicely. Don't forget to keep stirring this because it's kind of thick. You want to keep on stirring it. Make sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. Don't want to scorch none. Keep stirring up. I've been cooking about, I don't know, 15 minutes. Looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes now. Got 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Give it a nice stir. Looking good. Get a little red color up in there. Like that. I like that a lot. Alright, now if I had some, right now I would add some green onions, but I don't have any green onions. So I'm not going to go with any green onions. I think we got enough onion flavor in there. We'll be alright. I might be able to find some chives we can stick on it when we serve it. We shall see. Alright, it's looking good. I'm going to let that simmer for about another 15-20 minutes, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, I let everything cook and simmer. I let it go about 30 minutes. Looking pretty good. If you think your gumbo is too thick, add yourself some chicken broth. If you think it's too thin, take the lid off. Let it simmer. Let it cook down a little bit. It will thicken up. I like it a little bit soupy. You see how I cook it? When I put those tomatoes in there, make it just a little bit thin because I like to put it on my rice. It's going to be good. I like to have some juice with my rice. Alright, now I'm almost done. Got about 5-10 minutes more cooking. The last thing we're going to put in here is the rest of our shrimp. Remember, I had about 2 pounds of shrimp. We had about a pound of sausage. Now, if you don't want to use shrimp, you don't have to. You can use chicken. You can use any kind of meat you want. Gumbo is pretty much about put it together, make it taste good. And there's chicken gumbo. I think it's important that you use the sausage. That way you have some smoke flavor up in your gumbo. Other than that, it's pretty good. Alright, the shrimp cooks quick. We want to cook this just until shrimp start turning pink and everybody's looking good. And when our shrimp are pink, then we will call it done. And we'll put it on some rice and serve it up. And oh, it's gonna be so good, man. That looking good, isn't it? All right, makes me happy because I'm hungry. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. Cause like I said, if you don't stand here and keep stirring it, then it will scorch on the bottom. Cause this is pretty thick. You know, yours probably be thicker. I don't know. I like it about like that. It's pretty thick, so you got to keep stirring as long as you have that heat on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off when I serve it. What I do is just take me some rice in a bowl. I like to use a flat bowl because this thing was so hot. Well, it was spread out a little bit. And man, it is going to be some kind of good. Look at that. Oh, that look good. Some more shrimp up in there. The peppers and the bell pepper, the celery, onions, shrimp, sausage, man. Well, on the end here, let's take some chives, sprinkle me some chives up on that, make it act like I had some green onion, and call it gumbo. Oh man, it's gonna be good.